I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the meeting to order and public discussion. Anything for public discussion?
Is there anything you'd like to talk about, public discussion about the dogs?
Do you want to do that now, or do you want to do that
We do have an agenda item, but I mean, now would be the appropriate time if you want to say something, and then the board will discuss it more on the agenda item.
This will work good since Roger's here too.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you have the information I submitted. I submitted the Iowa code that we were kind of going with because we don't have an ordinance regarding what we were dealing with.
What is your name?
Mike Riggers.
Okay.
So I'm a trustee out at the Main with the Church, rural Lone Rock.
Lots Creek.
Yep.
We've got the chairman there and another congregation member, all kind of. So what we've been dealing with is, we've got a property there. We've got our church property, we've got a parsonage where our preacher lives, and we also have a next door neighbor. It used to be that was a renter. We believe now that that's an actual property owner. Things are different, I believe, since that maybe even. They have always had a dog. It kind of has been a nuisance since it's been there, but in the last year it's been getting worse, and then in the last 2 months it's been intolerable. We've approached them personally a year ago.
That was a couple years ago, not that matters.
And maybe even twice. I mean, I know I was there myself once and said, you gotta get this under control. We're tired of it. Always doing its business on our property, always approaching people on our property. You know, it comes and goes at will. They have no control over it, basically. I believe even a year or two ago, I stopped at the sheriff's office and said, hey, we've talked to them. They don't seem to get the message. Would you please go over there, relay the message again? That seemed to do no good to them. I don't know if we did that last year, a second time, but within the last 2 months, the initial dog has always been there, always been the problem, but not like as bad as it was. They got a second dog, and that's when we got major problems. But both of these dogs then were, you know, charging across on our property, chasing people in and out of the buildings, in and out of their car, basically daily harassing our pastor going to the mailbox. You know, this is unacceptable. And when we, you know, when we bring this up, or, you know, the initial time, we get, you know, we don't have a dog ordinance for this. Well, it's time we get one. I mean, we're done with having dogs come at this property free will.
Maybe Roger can help us out a little bit, cause they feel, am I correct in saying this, that you can only do so much without an ordinance? Because we know, we had you guys out there 3 times that 1 week. You know, your first guy went out there and said, oh, the dogs are okay, you know. I don't know, you got anything to add to that?
Sure. The situation they're talking about, when they presented us with some videos of how the dogs were approaching people coming to the church, I made the decision then to contact the landowners to have the one dog removed because it seemed more aggressive. But they're right, without a county ordinance, we have to follow state law. And state law is pretty much, the dog has to be deemed aggressive or attacking or biting someone before the dog can be legally destroyed. So we need to have something where the dogs out in the rural areas not only have to have their vaccination or tags, but maybe we can get something behind research. I'm not saying you have to do it today, research some other ordinances in surrounding counties where we can put a little teeth behind it to the dog owner. Whether it's through civil penalties or we impound the dog and they have to pay the fees. Now, I say that, here's the problem. We don't have a dog jail, or we don't have a place to impound county dogs. Right now, we rely on the city of Algona, to put placement of dogs, that are out in the county, and that pound is constantly full. I don't know that it's ever has empty space in it. We do have dogs that are deemed vicious because they have either attacked a person or domestic livestock, and then we have to follow the court proceedings and make the determination, have a judge authorize us to have the dog euthanized. So it is a problem. It's not just here in Kossuth County, it's every county that doesn't have a rural dog ordinance. And it's just something that we probably need to research and look if we can get something to help unincorporated areas that don't have a dog ordinance.
Well, it's out in the country, rural, I understand all that stuff, but there should be something. We got a playground there and a cemetery. This is insane that people are scared to get out of their cars. We got videos of people pulling up and not getting out of their cars because them two dogs were there and driving off because they didn't want to get out of their car. That's ridiculous. And I think there should be an ordinance, loose dogs, so many feet from a school or a church, that they have to be leashed, on a leash, or whatever. Or heck, we tried to even the church offered to build them a kennel for that white dog. And they just kind of blew us off, Then they got the second one, and that's when all hell broke loose. Because they were nasty. One would come from around the one side of the church and the other one would come around the parsonage, like two dogs can do. And, we just want something so they don't have to, they can make things happen faster and easier. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah, like reading this code, this is specifically what we have, except, the way this is worded, it says dogs running at large, which is exactly what they're doing. They can come to our property from all directions. We have, a couple hundred feet of highway access. There's no way for us to stop this. They need to take responsibility for this and keep them dogs on their property. And it does say a few things here too. Whether they have been vaccinated, whether they have a rabies tag or they don't, my guess is at some point in time, they've been on our property without collars or tags attached. That is one of these sections of the code. It's right there. It says, a removal of the dog. Except if we don't have a place to put them, how are you supposed to do that? And further in this code then too, it gives us municipalities and counties further action we can take. We can make this very simple. This doesn't have to be anything super complicated. It just needs something that defines, the dog comes on our property and we can show it to somebody. It either is removed or that's one strike and the second time it's removed or whatever. I mean, this cannot continue. There are so many places like this. We're just bringing it up today. And like talking to Roger, it sounded like it's, not maybe once a week or a few times a month, similar situations. I mean, that's a complete waste of their time when we could get this simple,
We just have to make sure that we have an ordinance that's compliable with a court case so that we can defend the ordinance. So we have to do a little bit of research and find another county or another situation where this has happened so that we can draft an ordinance that complies with.
I would suggest you look at it and then have Todd review it, because Todd would be the one that would have to prosecute if we actually filed charges on it.
Yep.
So
we'll let Todd write one up.
Yep.
For sure.
But I do want to thank Roger for.
That situation's been resolved since the red dog's been removed.
Yes.
Right.
We have not seen the white dog on our property, although I've seen a pile of
The
crap.
dogs they're talking about, we removed the more the more aggressive one, we removed and relocated it. And it's now, I'm monitoring it, know that it's in a location where there is an ordinance. And then the other one, I've directed the landowners that they've got to either kennel it or put a fence up. And I haven't been up there yet to see if they had that done, but they were working on getting a electric fence for it.
Pastor said he has not seen the white dog, except when they have it on a leash to go out and do its business.
That's good, because that's what I'm directing, is they take it outside, they have to have a leash or contained.
But our worry too is 6 months from now, we're gonna do that.
Exactly. That's why it is a good thing that we need to research and get some type of an ordinance.
Well, we'll work on that. You wanna make a note and see if we can find some that are in the state?
I know there's other counties that have them, so I'll even do some research and see if we can get copies of other ones for
Yeah.
Todd to look at.
Yeah, and then we'll bring it before the board.
Perfect.
We got VBS this summer, and there'll be 40 to 50 kids there out playing and stuff. And we don't wanna go through this again.
Nope.
We don't want somebody to get hurt.
No, not good when people are afraid to get out of the car going to church, so.
Yeah, we got proof of that on video, where they pull up, dogs were there, they just leave.
Yep.
And that one was nasty.
Well, thanks for coming in and
Thanks for
making us
coming in.
aware.
Thanks for listening.
Yep. Okay, any other public discussion? Don't think so.
You gotta take care of it. Drive careful.
Do we, there's no road foreman this morning, so, we have a motion to approve the agenda and minutes dated January 2nd, 2024. January 2nd, 2024.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Wactor. I'll second his motion. Any further discussion on the agenda and minutes? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Do you want to just wait and have Kyle sign these maybe? Or
You
should
can,
I?
yeah.
Okay, I'm under chairman. Okay, Kossuth Regional Health Center update.
Good morning, Stephanie and
Good
I are
morning.
here in the snowy, first appreciable snow of the season, right? So we could have done traffic as far as I'm concerned, but here we are. So, quick run through the financials for the month of November. As you can see, we had a loss from operations of $201,000 for the month. Year-to-date gain from operations of $231,000. That would be fiscal year starting in July through the end of November. We don't yet have December's. We're currently working on budget for this next fiscal year, and it's always a challenge when salaries and benefit expenses increase. And certainly in our case, you know, we have to remain competitive, as do you, to attract and retain good talent. So still working through that piece. One thing that I would note is that we were notified recently by the Iowa Hospital Association that we were one of 40 hospitals in the state of Iowa that were selected to receive or to distribute a $2,000 grant for an area high school senior who will be entering a health career. And because I'm from the local community in my alma mater, I graduated from Bishop Yarrigan High School, I'm able to bestow that to Bishop Yarrigan High School. And so I've notified the administrative staff at Bishop Yarrigan, and they'll be selecting that student awardee. But one of the things that we're definitely very interested in is getting high school students to pursue a health career. So as you know, we rely on these people greatly in our rural communities, and they're our workforce of the future, so we're pretty excited about that. This will be, I believe, the first time that the Hospital Association the Iowa Hospital Association has awarded grants to a high school student. Generally speaking, through the foundation, the Iowa Hospital Education Foundation, they bestow grants to college students pursuing healthcare careers. But to have a high school student in the mix is pretty special. We're pretty excited about that. What do you have, Stephanie? Anything you would add? What questions do you have for us? All right.
I think you're going
Yeah.
to turn around and start having a profit.
I certainly hope we do.
Just a
Yes.
curious question.
When do we think? Did you ask?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can tell you that there's a couple things that will help because of the way the cash will flow. One of those, and probably the most notable, will be the change in Medicaid here in Iowa. So the Iowa hospitals will be participating in a program called directed payments. And that changes the Medicaid formula as it comes through the state. So it's a federal program and many, many states have participated in that historically. We have not seen a Medicaid increase in nearly 20 years. So when you think about what the cost of goods and services, much less staffing and benefits, have increased over the past, couple of decades, and still working on financials from a couple of decades ago, you can see why there's such a mismatch, right? And so the Iowa Hospital Association is working really, really closely with the Iowa Medicaid Enterprise. So the state of Iowa, in terms of turning those funding formulas around just a little bit and getting us on a more even playing field. We expect to receive the first cash input from that in January. That, because of the way that they'll flow through our financials, will have a positive impact on our bottom line without a doubt, but also on our operations. So we're pretty excited to have that coming and very grateful to the Hospital Association in the state of Iowa for working on that. University of Iowa has had that in place for several years now, and so it's made a very significant difference for them, and now it's available for the rest of the state hospitals.
Good.
So we haven't seen figures to let us know what the economic impact will be for that for this year, but it'll be pretty substantial.
We have an aging population, so I was gonna say you're kind of doomed
Oh my
if you're
goodness.
relying on Medicare.
Oh yeah, and Medicare is, challenging enough, but especially with the Medicare Advantage programs.
Right.
We've seen some very unhealthy financial trends as a result of the Medicare Advantage programs. So, and there was a period of time when we went critical access hospital in the early 2000s. It was probably about 2003, maybe about 20 years ago. When we became a critical access hospital, we were able to break even plus 1% or 2% for Medicare. With sequestration now, we actually lose money for every Medicare patient that we provide service to. And that's with traditional Medicare, which is our best paying Medicare patient. So when you look at the Advantage plans, we lose a substantial amount. On the other hand, it's our mission, it's what we're here to do, so we appreciate the support that you all provide.
The supplements don't make up for,
They make up for the out-of-pocket expense, and they're very important for Medicare beneficiaries to have a supplement.
it doesn't help the hospital.
But it doesn't, not directly, no. It doesn't make up the loss from Medicare,
Right,
so.
yeah, it's all over.
It's,
You're not alone.
we are not alone, it's healthcare, so. It's healthcare.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a great
Thanks
day,
for coming in.
guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yes.
Roger.
Yes, thank you.
Drive careful, the streets are slippery.
Oh my gosh. No.
Let the record show we acknowledge the health center monthly report, and then, everyone had a chance to look at the transfers made by the county auditor. Okay, we'll let the record show that we've acknowledged the transfers made by the county auditor. And we are up to discussion decision to appoint an economic development representative to the NICOG board. I did talk to the city council last night, and nobody seemed interested in getting on there. I don't know. You guys had any luck with anybody?
No, I haven't. We had a hard time last time. It should be somebody that's familiar with city or county government, because it is a governmental
Right.
function.
Right.
And I don't know. I haven't got any good ideas. Roger, you got any good ideas for economic development for Nyasha?
That's not my area of expertise, no.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice if it was somebody that was familiar with county and city government.
Right.
Otherwise, you're gonna be swimming uphill and never really catch on.
Yeah.
We'll keep working at it.
Yep. Well, we'll table that for another week here. Alright, up to this, or let the record show no action was taken on that. Up to discussion decision, county dog ordinance in the unincorporated parts of the county. Which we just heard from the public and what the issue is.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, Roger. You got any other?
Yeah, I mean, right now, we have ordinances in almost, I believe, every incorporated area, small town in Kossuth County has an ordinance. The problem we run into is there's nowhere for us to, if we get a complaint about, and trust me, we get dog complaints every day.
I'm sure.
From somewhere around the county, of a dog running loose or dogs barking. And the towns have ordinances on it. The problem that we run into is we'll usually warn, you give a verbal warning or written warning, and then we'll eventually issue a citation in the communities. The problem is we don't have a place to take the dogs. If we do decide that, okay, this dog's running loose and the owner doesn't seem to be caring about it, so our choices are to impound the dog and then make the owners pay a fee, follow the city ordinances. We just don't have a place to take them. If the pound down here is full, they won't accept it. One advantage we have is the person that takes care of the pound is one of our deputies. Deputy Mark McGregor, who's our canine officer, is a part-time employee for the city of Algona to handle their dog cases. So he'll eventually help us out in the county if there's an opening down there. But right now the pound is full. We've got one dog we were waiting for a decision from the county attorney's office after talking to a judge about whether or not we could legally euthanize it. That was a situation where that dog had been deemed aggressive and had actually killed some domesticated turkeys and chickens, that kind of stuff. So when we enforce the ordinance, number one, we have to have a place to put the dogs while the system works, while you go through the process. Now, obviously, under Iowa code, he was reading some of the sections out of there. If a dog is running loose, whether it's tagged or not, and it starts to try to bite someone or attack a domesticated animal, that person has a right to defend and kill that dog. And believe it or not, we just had that happen about a month ago. We had 2 dogs attacking some sheep, and the landowner shot one dog and the other one got away. So it's definitely an issue that we have to keep on top of here in Kossuth County. And they're right, we don't have anything out in the county, but I would suggest that we do some research, find some other county areas, and let Todd review it and see what he thinks would be best that we can actually enforce it. Whether it's through civil penalties or, for example, here in Algona, I know if a dog gets impounded, the owner has to pay a fee to get it back.
Yeah.
And trust me, after they pay fees a couple times, they do a better job keeping their dog tied up and leashed, so that's something I think we should research, and I'll when I go back to the office, I'll have Kira contact surrounding counties and have them send us their dog ordinance if they have one for Alba County.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Another thing we could look into, I think too, is see if there's any other county sheriffs that might have agreements with local vet clinics to house, animals if they're removed from the public, and then the fees kind of go back to the owner.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get their dog back, they would have to pay boarding fees for
Right.
that animal. At least that way it's, we have a place to put them and they're sheltered. We know that they're being protected and if that's something that other counties do, is that something that we could kind
We
of.
can certainly look into that, what their options are, because that's the problem, is we just don't have a place to board them.
Yep.
And if we can utilize a veterinarian service to possibly board them, I'm sure they're gonna want a fee for that too, but
Right.
it's something we can research and look into.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll dig into that. No action taken on that agenda item today. We're up to discussion decision approval of 2080 agreement between Kossuth County Sheriff and Iowa Great Lakes Drug Task Force.
That's something I submitted about a week ago. I asked Tammy to put me on the agenda. I made a decision as sheriff that we want to join the Iowa Great Lakes Drug Task Force. It's a multi-jurisdictional task force for drug enforcement. I emailed you, did you guys get a copy of the actual 2080?
Yep.
The front page shows you and tells you which agencies are involved in it. It's basically the counties and police departments, 2 counties to the west of us, Emmett, Palo Alto, Dickinson, Clay, and then a lot of the larger police departments in that jurisdiction. And it goes all the way over to O'Brien and Osceola County. The reason I've decided to join it is because 2 of our deputies have been actively involved in it for the last couple of years anyway. And the purpose or the advantage of us entering the 2080 agreement, it's no different than the 2080 agreements we have with every small town in the county right now. They sign one with the sheriff and then we respond to calls. This isn't, there's no cost or fees involved in this. It just basically authorizes all of these jurisdictions or these police departments to mutually help each other in this task. So in other words, if we have a large investigation going on in Kossuth County and I don't have the manpower to maybe set up surveillance on a place for a few days or gather intel to gain enough information to get a search warrant, by joining this task force, I can then call on officers from these other agencies that will come over and assist us for 2, 3, 4 days in gathering intel, doing surveillance, gaining enough information to get a search warrant. And then in return, we may send an officer over to them once in a while. So we've been actually involved in it already for a couple of years, but now to legally use some of the resources, we need to sign a 2080 agreement. Resources means that when we do drug investigations and we decide that we want to participate in undercover drug buys, we can now utilize this task force for funds. In other words, instead of coming to our drug account here in Kossuth County, we can submit a request to the executive committee of the Iowa Great Lakes Drug Task Force, and they will provide us funds to if we have an investigation that we're going to do undercover drug buys. The other side of it is one thing that I want to get more aggressive on. We currently have 2 vehicles in our possession that are drug-related cases that we've been waiting on to determine if we're going to file a forfeiture and seizure on them. And how we currently have done it is we've waited for a conviction, and then the county attorney's office makes a decision on filing for that forfeiture. By joining this task force, we will follow their protocol on forfeitures, and how they do it is if an officer in Kossuth County makes a drug investigation, and let's say, for example, he performs a traffic stop, the K9 alerts on the vehicle, they do a search, they find a large enough quantity of drugs in the vehicle that they not only seize the drugs and file felony charges, they can also seize the vehicle or any cash that's associated with it. And then we would file what's called a 10-day notice, and the owner of that vehicle or who claims the ownership of the cash or drugs would have to file a response within that 10 days. The advantage of that is we do the forfeiture right up front instead of waiting until the conviction could be a year and a half later. The task force does take 50% ownership of that. So if we did for example, if we did a $5,000 cash seizure, they would get $2,500 and Kossuth County would keep the other $2,500. That money then goes into that fund that helps all jurisdictions do drug investigations. And I just went to a meeting in Spencer 2 to 3 weeks ago, and that fund currently has about $130,000 in it that these jurisdictions can use for undercover investigations. The other big part of this, the reason we want to get involved in it, is because it's tremendous intelligence gathering. In other words, we can rely on other officers that are doing other drug investigations. We're seeing a lot of methamphetamines coming in from Minnesota right now, and because we border Minnesota up here, it's a huge advantage to us to be a part of this task force. So there's no cost involved, it's just basically getting your approval for me to sign the 2080 agreement. And if you read through it, you can see that, I think it's on page 2 or 3. If down the road, 6 months from now, we decide it's not worthy, all we gotta do is give them written notice that we're gonna depart from it.
Would there be a motion to that effect to join the 2080 agreement?
I would so move.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Jarks,
I'll second.
second by Wactor. Any further discussion on the issue?
So it really is self-funded in the end?
It's, yeah, the task force itself is self-funded, and it's through the forfeitures.
Right.
And then, when I say there's no cost, if they send officers over to help us, they don't charge us, and if we send someone over to help them, we don't charge them.
Yeah.
And it's probably an average of 5 to 6 times a year in the last couple of years that I've sent a couple officers over to. I know we just sent a couple up to Esterville about 2 weeks ago, did an undercover surveillance on a place, did an undercover buy. We just did a search warrant the other night. They sent an officer over to help us. So it's just a mutual agreement that officers will go back and forth to help each agency. And it's a benefit to us because when we're doing if we're doing surveillance on the place, obviously we're using other equipment that I'm not gonna mention out in public, but when we're doing surveillance, we have to man that, whether it's through a cell phone technology or through cameras, but we need to have officers be able to respond to that. And that's the advantage of having task forces. Now, instead of 10 certified officers, I have the resources of about 100 certified officers through these 16 agencies that we can call for help. And then they do the same when we'll go over and help them. So it's just a way to get more intel, also to buy money and share equipment and share resources to help the drug investigations.
So the drug investigations, whether it be, if there's, officers that come over from a different community to assist in, the arrests and stuff like that, our county attorney would still be the prosecutor on that.
Correct.
But yeah, same as, we help out
Yep.
in another community.
Whatever jurisdiction the crime occurs, they would prosecute it. What I could probably say is what you'll notice in future press releases on drug investigations, it might now start saying that multi-jurisdictional, Kossuth County was assisted by multi-jurisdictional task force members or something like that.
Okay.
Because we may have officers come over and help us. And like I said, this isn't a weekly occurrence. I could say in the last year, even when we weren't involved in it with the 2080 agreement, we still did some joint stuff together. And so after talking to our 2 main narcotics officers, I would say it's probably like half a dozen times a year that we might be involved in assisting other agencies on their warrants. I don't know how close you guys have paid attention, but in the last 3 years, we have done more drug investigations and search warrants than we probably have in the last 10. And that's just simply because we've got some younger aggressive officers that are willing to put in the time, and it will help alleviate some of our overtime if we can get other officers to come over and help instead of having our guys doing it around the clock. So it's more for gathering the intel, to be honest, so that we can share that information with other jurisdictions.
So if we, if we're sending officers, over to different, communities to kind of help with investigations and stuff like that, is that something that we're gonna end up possibly seeing more overtime pay, is that gonna be a possibility?
Yeah, what I would have to do as an administrator is make the decision if I want to send an officer that's off duty or send an officer that's working and then just cover the shift here. So that's why I said it's probably not more than 5 to 6 time occurrence that happens. And the advantage of it is with 16 agencies involved, if there's 30 search warrants done in that area, out of the 16 agencies, they can call on, if they call Kossuth and they say, I got nobody available, they got 15 other jurisdictions they can call.
Right.
And that's why as administrators, there's an executive committee, And as administrators, we make the decision, okay, if I got somebody that's putting in too much overtime, I can't send them, they'll have to call another agency. And that's why I want to become a part of it, is because then we can call on other agencies to come help us if we need it to. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the advantage is, like I said earlier, there's no fees or cost to us. And if 6 months to a year from now, I don't feel like it's helping us or a big advantage, we can always withdraw from it.
Sounds good. Any other questions? There's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the 2080 agreement. Okay. If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion
Okay,
carries
thank you.
unanimously.
Want to call?
Yep. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Thanks, Roger.
You bet. Good morning, Todd.
Hey, morning, Doug. We're ready for you in the boardroom. Thanks.
You wanna give Kyle a rundown of
Did
what
anyone
we
show up
showed?
for the dog ordinance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Riggert and I think Lukey and I don't know who the other guy was, showed up. And they discussed it during the public discussion and then.
Okay.
So we're just gonna look into what other counties have,
Okay,
go from
Yeah,
there
I've-
and send
I've
it to
talked to
Todd
him.
and have him review it.
okay, I've talked to him several times, so I knew the situation, but
Okay.
We also tabled the economic development because
Did you have someone in
Yeah.
mind for that? Okay.
I have not yet. I've tried a couple people, but haven't gotten anything to stick.
I've got a couple people in mind, but they don't sit on any city governments or anything like that, so.
Do we know the requirements? For sure, does it have to be someone with the city government?
Doesn't have to
Just said
be
it'd be nice to let them.
preferable.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So-
if you can't find anybody,
Then
one body.
Yep.
Yep.
It ends up being a lot of dollars.
Right.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doug.
Do you want me to continue? We're on the.
I should be okay now.
Okay.
I got my stuff open.
Okay.
We are ready for you, Doug, on the obstruction next here.
We have been dealing for some time. This is west of Sway City. There's a gentleman there, the old landowner, has a lot of junk on his property and we'll clean it up after we send a notice. And then shortly after everything's cleaned up, the right of way fills back in with the same debris and all. When I was preparing everything for the board, there was a trailer that was full of washers, dryers, appliances, other appliances. It has been removed. However, there remains one washer dryer combination unit, and it looked like yesterday possibly a freezer was dropped off. So I asked the board if they would act on a resolution. My original intent was to act on a resolution. It would be to direct the secondary road department to remove the trailer and clean up everything, and further to continually clean that area as things get there. I'd still like the board to act on that so that the landowner understands that we're not gonna send him another notice in 2 or 3 weeks to do this. So, long story short, most of the debris has been picked up. There is debris in the railroad right away. That's a whole different owner. I don't know if that's possible. I need to try to get a hold of some contacts and see what the railroad can or will do. But I'd like the board to act on this resolution. Again, what it really does is
Is this the first resolution of the day?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
So what's the history behind this property? Is
There-
it just people that are just dropping stuff off at this guy's property, or is
I've
he
never
telling
witnessed,
people?
I've never witnessed anybody dropping anything off. I cannot tell you.
Based on what I've seen and heard, I think
If I
it's a
can finish, please.
Sorry, yep.
Thank you. The gentleman that I talked with, he says that people are dropping things off. I don't know exactly what's going on, Josh. So, whether he's telling people to do it, I've witnessed personally, talking to him at the location where an automobile is sitting there, and he says, look at this, it was dropped off yesterday. I make a phone call to the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department it has a license plate on it. The license plate, he contacts the owner. The owner of the junkyard says that it was dropped off, but somehow it gets removed within a 24-hour period. After the sheriff's department says we're gonna tow it. So, I don't know. I get different stories from different people.
Some of the things that have been, in the right of way when I've been contacted have been his own equipment and trailers. So I think there's a combination, but it's been a long history. There's been probably half a dozen notices served to him by the sheriffs, I would guess. At least.
I mean, is he running like a scrapyard business out of his home, or
It's not his home. It's a junkyard.
just a junkyard? Okay,
Yeah.
The landowner lives in Armstrong.
okay.
He's also got stuff over in Armstrong, and there's been issues over there, cause that's along Highway 9 as well. Jim,
Do you know he has a permit to do appliances?
I do not. You mean the manufacturing as far as?
Well, to recycle appliances, they need a permit. That isn't, any junkyard can't do that. Same way.
I'm not aware of it.
Same with tires, if he's doing it without the proper permits in place, he can't have tires or appliances piled up.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Munson won't take a stove or refrigerator or anything like that.
Correct.
no.
Because he's not licensed to do it. So I'm just curious.
With the free
Yeah.
and stuff, yeah.
I would bet you're probably right. They probably don't have one, but I don't know. But yeah, I would make a motion to approve the resolution, and that would be dated 09 or 01/09/24/01. Would there be a second to that motion?
I'll make a second.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion or the resolution?
So do you send this with a registered letter to him?
No, this would be, I will be sending him a letter telling him that we will just be cleaning everything up. But it will not be registered or anything.
Okay.
But we will just start keeping things calm.
Okay,
Sounds good.
roll call vote, please.
Plath, Jerks,
Yes.
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Stecker.
Yes. Motion carried, unanimous.
Melissa, if you please sign that, I put Tammy's name on there,
That's okay.
assuming that she was going to be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, did you have anything for construction in the right of way?
There is no request for construction in the road right of way.
Alright, and we're up to discussion.
First thing I wanna say is, Secondary Road Department, we had an employee, Tuesday afternoon. It was a medical emergency at one of our shops, was transported to, Algona, Kossuth Regional Health Center. He, is it's not work-related, but he is in some, was in had a life-threatening condition. He will be on short-term, at least a short-term disability. But we did have an ambulance go to a shop. He was transported to Kossuth Regional Health Center, and then he was transported to Des Moines. He was back at home. I know he's been having some other problems, but if anyone would like to visit a little bit more about that, I'd be more than happy to visit with you in my office. The second thing is I believe the board has allowed Christmas Eve to be a holiday. And my question is that for all employees? And the reason I'm asking is the road department collective bargaining unit has 10 holidays defined in it. Christmas Eve is not. And I need some direction about that, whether or not that will be a holiday for the secondary road department. So.
I would say if we're closing the courthouse that day.
I voted no, because I didn't think we needed any more holidays.
I would say it should be consistent for everyone.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, whatever we do, it shouldn't be two different sets of holidays.
If they have to work, that means double time.
That would be holiday pay plus time and a half,
Sure.
overtime. So it add an expense to secondary road budget.
If it snows, yeah.
But that's definitely because Christmas Eve fell on that weekend.
No, it was an extra added half a day.
Yeah, it used to be a half day before,
Yeah.
right? Just
I've
the,
never had a half day for Christmas Eve since I've been here. I've never gotten a day off in 8 years for Christmas Eve.
The employee handbook as well lists 10 holidays. Yeah, so
At some point, taxpayers still have to feel like they're being represented.
well, does anyone wanna reconsider that decision for the holidays, or keep it the same for everyone, or what?
Has it historically been a half day?
Well, from what Melissa's saying, it's
Not in the past 8 years. Since I've been here, it is not. Whether it was before that, I don't know, but since I've been here, I've never gotten paid time off for Christmas Eve.
Sure.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, for Christmas Eve, yeah.
Would it be appropriate to see what other businesses are doing for Christmas Eve and?
Well,
It's not really.
One other,
Yeah.
the transfer station is open on Christmas Eve, and whoever's working there will definitely receive a holiday. And what happens at the transfer station is, if they get 10 holidays. But if the transfer station is open, we treat them with a floating holiday, like Martin Luther King. Our road department gets a floating holiday on Martin Luther King holiday. Next Monday is MLK. With the collective bargaining unit, some years ago, the Board of Supervisors and the collective bargaining unit negotiated that they get to take that 8-hour holiday some other time. So they do get a day where they're not working. Most of the time, Martin Luther King holiday, there is snow. So that's why that was negotiated.
Yeah.
Well, shall we have it on the agenda next week to discuss the holiday schedule for
You've
the
already
different?
passed holiday schedule for the year, so I think maybe that stands. But the road department doesn't really always have the same schedule, is what Doug's trying to say.
Right, I would hope that the road department would be included. If that's,
Yeah.
evidently the board's intention was to have Christmas Eve be a holiday.
Well, considering we're 12 months away from it, I think we still have plenty of time to make a change if that's the direction of the board, so I would say we probably need to have it on the agenda for next week to discuss the holiday schedule. And if there's other aspects of it we need to address, or if that's the path we wanna go down, we can hash that out next week.
Because if things need to be changed in handbook or any other place in keeping Christmas Eve as a holiday, then we need to address that too.
There's something to address either way.
Right.
Alright, anything else you have for us?
We still have a couple of nights of sign inventory that we will be out, working our office. We still have open positions. Solar ordinance for planning and zoning, has any decision been made?
We have not discussed it.
I don't think, no.
Okay, and then
Could we put that on the agenda for next week to discuss?
Just discussion?
Just discussion.
Yeah, good.
That way we have
Discussion on
opportunity
the
to
solar
talk about it.
ordinance.
And Michelle Moon is the account manager for Blue Cross Blue Shield, and she has, she'd like to present the initial rates next week, and I have asked for agenda time at 11 o'clock next Tuesday. Melissa, is 11 o'clock available
I
next
think so.
Tuesday?
Is
I
that,
sent an email to Tammy and Christie.
is that Karen's position previously? Is she
Correct.
filling that
Karen
same
is no
role?
longer
Okay,
our account manager.
okay,
Yep, it's open.
So we will have Melissa or excuse me, Michelle, come and, present that to the board of supervisors, and then I'm, trying to get an annual meeting put together for the Kossuth Waste Management Association. Who is the board's representative?
I
Always usually takes that.
Okay. I will be emailing you information, Kyle. for
okay,
that.
thank you.
Okay. That is all that I have.
I know you said we have open positions yet, how many do we have? Is it still 2 mechanics?
Lakota and 2 mechanics.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Anything else? All right, very good.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Yep.
Alright, do I wanna get Marge for drainage next?
You're gonna call
Or
her,
do
you
you
want
want,
somebody to go get her?
don't matter.
I'll go get her.
Roger wants to stretch his legs.
Yep.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna do the hardest thing.
Yep.
Why so many requests up north in the past week? We didn't get any rain.
It's
Just
just the
think
way
Kyle
it
doesn't have
goes.
enough to do.
Something like that.
How much snow did you get down in your neck of the woods?
No, probably got
Thank you.
at least 4 or 5 inches, but
Yeah, it's not to shovel. Yeah. It's interesting to see that further south was supposed to get more. Usually it's the northern part of the state that gets more and the southern part that gets less. So it's just kind of odd to see that.
And could be quite a bit different.
did Des Moines get a bunch or?
Yeah, I think
I haven't heard
They
from
were-
family or anyone yet, but they were supposed to get
at least
close
10.
to a foot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, 8 to 10.
I
unless
saw
saw
someone
from
posted
me.
on Facebook from Iowa City, they were calling for 20 inches.
I didn't hear anything that high. but
Yeah.
I did hear a foot for the southeast
This was this
corner.
morning in Des Moines at my sister's house.
Yeah, that's probably.
That looked more like about what-
5, 6 maybe?
That looked like more about my house, yeah.
Yeah,
Do we get enough for you to get your snow fixed?
yeah, but now it just can't melt, it just got to stay like this.
Yeah, yeah. No drifting.
Yeah.
Right. Alright, we are up to DD 20 invoices. Marge, do you wanna give the board a quick rundown or?
There's copies in the folder,
Yep,
and I think we've discussed it before. It was unclear on the map with McClure's inaccuracies, and there was a repair that was done.
this is the one you were talking about size wise and stuff.
Yeah, and it was determined the tile was 24 inches, that was repaired.
Do you have anything you wanna say on them, Roger, or?
He receives benefit from it.
Yes,
That's, just because the line doesn't show that. He thinks that it doesn't show that he's receiving benefit, but the maps are not the accurate determination. The accurate determination is what's in Marge's files in there, and he receives benefit.
This classification with the scheduled benefits.
So on the schedule, this is what he owes. I'm correct on saying that, Marge?
yes.
Yeah, that's,
So would you have a motion to accept or reject the invoices?
I would suggest that we reject the invoices, and that would be my
Motion,
motion.
okay? We have a motion on the floor, is there a second? I will second that motion. Any further discussion or any questions from the board on this situation?
Just make sure that the other people on the board understand that the schedule shows that he owes the money.
Well, and it was already paid,
it
this
was
is,
paid. It
this
was-
is from what, 15?
2015.
So, if there was anything that,
Two things why this isn't, the limitation on time for him to claim,
yep,
and the other thing is it's in the schedule. So there's two things that determine that these invoices are not valid.
if there was something to be addressed here, it should have been done a long time ago.
You have 90 days, I think it is, Marge, isn't that correct, to contest your assessment after you get it?
It might even be shorter than that.
Or is it 30?
It might be.
20?
It might be.
I don't know, 20,
There is a time limit.
Yeah,
There
It
is a
depends on-
time,
yeah.
we just dealt with that this summer of that time frame.
yeah, we did.
Trying to think what that number was.
Let me see if
It wasn't very long.
Right.
No,
I also don't see how he can charge interest on an invoice that was delivered dated 11/22/23, but yet he's charging interest from 2015,
yeah,
that's
which
he did pay.
that's the reason, because he would have paid it back then and is assuming that the district is going to pay interest the entire time for a bill they've never received, even though that same concept he used on a different district with the opposite conclusion. So the principles don't really line up.
Well, they do if you're Joe.
In my opinion, they don't line up. Any further questions from the board? Anyone want any more history on the subject?
I don't think it's necessary.
Alright, roll call vote please.
Plath, Jarks,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes,
Nat,
Yes.
Stecker.
Yes, motion carried unanimous. Next we have repair requests.
We don't take them in January.
We shouldn't.
It's too cold to go work.
Well, it ain't getting done now, but. Morning, Todd.
Informational purposes only, so it's no problem that I'm coming in. How would you like me to give these to you? Just scan it in email?
we got him already.
We have 'em.
Oh, you have them already?
Yep.
Glad I came up.
Yep. Thanks, Todd.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the old saying, you've been served.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't see that too.
You got two? Lucky day.
Yeah.
I'm getting up today.
Yeah, you are.
I'm getting my usual.
Your usual
Yeah,
number of
usual.
requests, yeah.
You wanna start, Roger?
Yeah, I got one German Township drain number 9, beaver dams and lyle buckles. We took them out last year, the year before, I can't remember, and they're back again.
Yeah,
I think we'll get Wrightsville to take them out again.
Okay.
And then I have one in Fenton Township, drain 7, large washout on tile at the edge of the north bank, open ditch. It's drain, try 184. We haven't done any work on that lately.
Not that area.
I'll have Wrightsville do that one.
which one is that?
Is it 9?
On drain 7, try 84.
Okay,
07.
number 7,
Yeah,
Okay.
I misspoke on the other one, it was WK 311.
Okay.
I looked at number 9, invoice already for draining.
I did have one for Lynn Underwood, I don't remember which section it was in. And I don't, for some reason, I'm thinking it was a different ditch, but we could check that, but I know I had one for
I
Lynn
don't remember
before.
doing any work on this ditch. I mean, any maintenance much.
Well, we did a project on the lower
The bottom.
2-3 miles-ish through FEMA, that's straight south of, Lone
That
Rock.
was along the road,
Yeah, one of those miles was along the road and then it angled down, yep,
right,
but that was about 2 miles worth,
but
but
this is north of that.
yeah, this should be a different area of the ditch,
Okay.
so. Right, well, since I've got a couple, I'll buzz through them quick, they're all in the packet, I got one for, number 1 is a sinkhole in the field that's flagged. Number 2 is a broken tile with a couple blowouts. Number 3 is a blowout on the end of the ditch in drain 80. Number 4 is a broken tile by a junction box. Number 5 is broken tile that needs repair. Is this one already done with Smith?
Yeah.
Okay. So that one's done. Number 6 is cleaning out 133 open ditch. I think the main outlet pipes are covered up. And then number 8 is drain 4, lat 11, 3 or more locations washed out on the west bank by outlet pipes. So that would be where we just did the project, we'll have to check if some of that was in those locations or not, but that is my stack of presents for today.
I'll make a motion for supervisors to handle the request.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Alright,
Quick question, was that Roger Truman talked to me once about cleaning that ditch? Did he sign that request?
no, I think that was someone else. Which one
For
was
which
it?
one?
It's Kelmus Creek, but I don't know what drain it is.
133.
No, that was Tom Struker and that's in 133.
That's in 133.
Is that the ditch you're talking about or is that something different? That's
Is that the
Seneca,
same as Kelmus Creek?
I'm not sure. There's enough, I don't remember.
that's Seneca 28.
No,
Could
that
be.
isn't the same.
No?
If you're,
Kelmus Creek dumps out.
that'd be
Farther
west
over.
of
Like
Sherlin's home place,
72
right?
and
Right.
the other.
It goes a mile east of Lone Rock and then it goes south down.
If it's south of Big Six, it'd be your district.
Yeah, it dumps out in my district, yeah. I'm trying to think where it dumps out.
Are you talking that tile that has a surface drain on top of it?
No,
You're talking
that's
the,
my district.
yeah. You're talking the one that he was looking at tiling into?
Right.
Yeah, that would, unless it's farther north, that'd be yours too.
Yeah.
So no, that's not what this request is.
No,
Any,
I dumped out in, north of town into the big Black Cat River. The one
okay,
I was thinking of.
okay. Do you need to write up a request for that, or do you have a question?
No, I just,
Oh, just thought of it?
yeah.
Okay. Well, we have a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carried unanimous. Alright, well, next thing is discussion with our auditor.
Unless Mark had anything else for green.
Yep, did you have? Sounds good.
I guess for the board's information, the bridge at Lattice House was repaired, or not the bridge, but the banks were restored around it.
Okay, good deal.
And Dell did, I think, get over the MOSBACs last week before it snowed. Go ahead.
Okay. So, for next week's agenda, I'm gonna add, or Doug's gonna have on at 11 o'clock with the Wellmark, then we'll add the discussion, decision for the holiday schedule.
Yep.
Okay, and discussion solar ordinance.
Yep.
Okay, and then there'll be, claims and conservation claims. Veteran Affairs will have an update. And that looks like about it so far.
Alright. Perfect. I think we're up for board discussion. Jack, do you have anything?
No, last week.
Roger?
I had a NICOG meeting last night, and up till November, they had a operating loss of $101,735, and made a negative on their net worth of $158,646 because of some timing issues. And from November to December, they made $948,876, but some of that was, they wrote off some depreciation from old trucks that they got rid of, so that you can't count on that forever. They're up to $17, $18 an hour now for employees to drive the buses. It used to be $10 an hour. They can't hire anybody for $10 an hour anymore. Their ride still costs $1 for in town and $5 if it crosses township line or a town line somehow. I don't know how they really figured that for sure. I think it's up to the driver to know how far they go. We talked about not charging anything because the state backfills all this, so we really don't know which is the most economical way to go as far as charging. We're gonna look into that a little bit.
What does the state backfill? Do they backfill the extra for each ride?
Yeah,
Or just the loss of the operation?
no, they backfill the ride.
Per the ride?
They go by the ride.
Okay.
13 cents per capita increase in the price for operating NICOG's buses. Nothing much else that was really interesting. It was kind of short, it only lasted 45 minutes, everybody was anxious to get out.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Is there anything we gotta worry about with the negative loss for the operation, or?
Well, the 13 cents should cover that. Going forward.
Our fees or whatever?
Yeah,
Our
that's our
dues?
fees.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a it's not supposed to be a money-making deal, it's supposed to be just hanging on and, oh, I know what else, the shop rate, they were paying like $50 to mechanics, or the shop rate that they charge. Now they're charging $77 per hour for shop rate. And that's what they charge, and now that's, goes back to how the state and federal government funds it. But that pays for the building and equipment, wages and everything.
Okay.
So 77 is still a lot less than most of your privates are over 100, aren't they? Shop rate,
Yeah, probably.
I would imagine, I don't.
Sounds good.
That's all I got.
Josh, do you have anything?
Did not have any meetings, I got a bunch tomorrow though, so. Yeah, North Central Regional Response, Transportation Board, then come back here for our, conference board, and then we've got a hazard mitigation plan tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
Do have a bunch tomorrow.
Yep. So,
Okay, Carter?
I had no meetings.
Okay, yeah, reminder to everyone, the conference board meeting's tomorrow night.
4:30.
I would have had a meeting for NACO, Ag and Rural Affairs, but, that was during one of our budget workshops this last week, so didn't make that. Otherwise, I think that's all I had. Didn't have any other committees, so. Anything else for board discussion, or?
State send in the budget.
Oh, did we get any numbers from the department management?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay,
I was out all last week, so I haven't heard anything. And
well,
Christie's out yesterday and today, so.
okay. Well, yeah, Tammy said she'd let us know once she got something,
Okay,
so.
yeah, and I haven't heard
I'm
anything.
sure we probably don't. Sounds good. I would entertain a motion to adjourn then. If there's no. Okay. Got a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Carter? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Alright.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carried unanimous. We are out of here. Looks like Roger's ready to go.
He must go play